So, on the 16th of May, on Saturday, I went to London uh, for the Unite the Kingdom rally. I thought, well, I may as well check it out. Uh, may as well. Got nothing else really better to do. You never know what might happen. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So, yeah, it's not exactly far right as the media makes it out to be, because that's an incredibly retarded way to describe it. Um, so I was on the train. I rode the train, um, and gradually, as I approached London, the train started to fill with more and more people until it was absolutely packed. And when I started entering London itself, I've never been to London, before, especially on my own. Um, I did once, but that was a coach trip to the Natural History Museum. Uh, but going there on my own was quite daunting. It was just packed with people, and then you look out the window, and you gradually start to realize that this is a massive place. I'm not used to you know this kind of setting. It's not my thing. But getting out of the Shire is something that I probably should do, because nothing will ever happen if you don't actually try and do something. I have done. I've tried things over the years, so many things. I've been to so many places, and nothing ever happens. But I thought, I'll go to this. Something might happen, you know. So I thought I'd give it a try. I got nothing else going on. No one else wanted to come with me, so I thought, fuck it. I'm just going to be on my own. And so I went. I was like, well, how far can it be? I arrived at Liverpool Street, and I was like, how far can it be? I could walk. I could walk to find them. And then it was like, oh well, this is actually a massive place. Um, much bigger than I'd anticipated. And I thought it might have been quicker if I took the underground, but I thought, no, it's something I'm not really familiar with. I looked at the map of all the underground, the different lines and stuff, and I thought, that looks too complicated for me. I don't know what's going on there. And so I walked, and I eventually reached the river. I was like wandering around Southwark, and I went to Blackfriar, and I was just thinking, right, let's find Westminster. Is in the sort of area where Big Ben is, and the London Bridge, and that's where I want to be heading. So let's find the river. So I get to the Thames, and I basically follow the river in one direction until I maybe hear some things or see some things, uh, or see things that I recognise, and I think, there we are. Let's head in that direction. So it turned out that because the march started in Trafalgar Square, and I missed the start of it, so I managed to intercept it before it reached Westminster. I reached a bridge, and I thought, oh, they must already be there. But then I turned around and I saw that everybody was coming, so I managed to get in front of it before it got there. And there were so many people. Holy shit! There were so many people. I mean, of course there was, but yeah, I just thought, I don't know what I'll get out of today. I'll probably I'll probably get some footage. I'll probably observe some things and get some footage, put on the channel, and that's about it, really. The crowd was basically made up of boomers and normies and just lads who were there to have a drink, and you could smell cannabis in the air. And yeah, so I joined the march. I got involved, and yeah, we trekked for ages, trekked through the city. My thoughts of the whole thing, it feels like a setup. And what I mean by that is that all the, obviously he got donations. Tommy, right? He got donations, okay, to be able to afford it. But someone had to have given the stamp of approval for them to block off the road and actually have it happen at all, and take up so much of London, going all the way to Trafalgar Square and Westminster and fucking, you know, and they set up all these big screens so you could, if you're a mile away, you could actually watch them, all the speakers on the stage at Westminster. And for there to be a stage at Westminster and for there to be toilets, someone had to give the go ahead. They tried to make him out, the media and the government, Starmer tries to make him out as the enemy of the state. But why did you let him put that much effort into it? I don't know. It seems like maybe because he said the right things about a certain chosen group, that maybe that was enough to say, yeah, all right, we'll let him do it. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not the biggest fan of Tommy Robinson, if I'm honest. But I just went just to see what happens, see what I can learn, see who I can meet. If I can meet some interesting folk, because it was definitely not extremely racist or anything. It started with a black woman talking about white genocide in Britain. That's how it started. And then, but yeah, anyway, I kept walking. I got some footage. I watched the guy climb some scaffolding to get to the top of a roof, and then suddenly he disappeared. It all seemed quite like a setup. I couldn't, I got my phone out to film him, but I just couldn't, because he was so far away. I couldn't actually aim the camera at him properly. But yeah, he climbs the scaffolding, then gets to the roof. He's got a Union Jack on him, and then he gets to the roof, and then suddenly he disappears. And I think, okay. Anyway, yeah, there's obviously the Israeli flag being waved. There is a Persian flag being waved, and various other flags being waved. I had my own flags, but I only took out the white dragon flag because I thought that's probably the vibe that flag would be appropriate for. Probably because I bought the Celtic Cross and the British fascists flags, and I thought, we've got the Israeli flag, and having the British Union flag out probably won't go down well. I think Tommy and his goons would probably chuck me out, or the police would be. The police were there. They had nothing to do because nothing happened. There was no fights, no violence, no nothing for them to do, and they were probably desperate to arrest somebody. So a lanky skinhead taking out the British Union flag. Oh, there you go. And there you go. That's their time to shine, isn't it? And then it'll be put on. Imagine it. It'll be put on the fucking the news and all this shit. Oh, a neo-Nazi skinhead was arrested at the far right rally, at Tommy Robinson's far right rally, and clearly they're terrible, and yeah. So I thought, maybe not. So yeah, I just kept it in the bag. But I thought, you never know, you might find some more interesting chaps who might appreciate that kind of thing. So yeah, I got down to Westminster, and yeah, there was a stage. He had people speaking. There was Carl Benjamin speaking. Various other people. There's preachers, and then it just starts devolving into Christian babble after a while. And I was there. I listened for quite a while. I watched, and there was when they got out the African Nigerian guy who's talking about the oppression of Christians, of Nigerian Christians in Nigeria. That's when I thought, okay, I think I've had enough now. I'm gonna walk away, get away from, because yeah, it was just made up of like boomers and normies. They were all drinking and stuff, and staggering about and that sort of thing. So I thought I'll just sort of come out of the crowd, if you know what I mean. I'll sort of pull myself out of the crowd and sort of go around the outskirts and see if I can encounter some people who are sort of on my level, if you know what I mean. And so I went around the outskirts and just sort of looking around, and I found Amelia. And there was this girl with purple hair, dyed purple hair, and a battle jacket, right? So what I did was I'm wearing this fucking bomber jacket, right? I'm wearing this bomber jacket, and I'm wearing a sticker. I slap a sticker on the bomber jacket, which is "Stop the Boats," and it has a picture of Amelia. So I slapped it on me because I'm thinking, trying to attract the right people who recognise that character, I suppose. But there were a lot of boomers who had purple hair anyway, who seemed to recognise Amelia. But anyway, there was this young girl who who was laughing as Amelia, and I walked over and she like pointing at the sticker, and then I chatted to her for a bit, and it turned out she was Hungarian, but she loves the UK. She is she says that she's afraid to go out at night because of some black and brown individuals. And she was wearing this battle jacket with all sorts of metal bands and death metal bands, black metal bands. And I'm looking around her jacket, and I'm looking for a particular kinds of black metal bands is what I'm looking for, but sort of more famous bands, I suppose, that are not exactly that much of a big deal. There's no Burzum or anything, or Budzum, or anything like that, absurd, or anything of that nature on the battle jacket. But then I noticed a pin, and it was a pin which was something to do with troons or something, and I said, "What's that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's to do with binary people, or whatever." And she's explaining it to me, and then I just sort of switch off and think, never mind. Never mind. I suppose that's. I met Amelia in person, and I wasn't impressed. Is what I'm saying. And then yeah, that was it. And then I wandered off. Yeah, I spoke to some other people. There was an old guy who was like talking about some bloke who'd been put in prison, political prisoner, just for speaking his mind in public and all that sort of thing. I spoke to him for a little while. That was interesting. Yeah, there was no one really on my sort of level until I'm like walking down the side pavement there, away from the big crowd, and eventually it starts to turn into a rave, and they start playing rave music, and everybody's like partying. And I thought, fucking hell. I thought, okay, well, I've had enough of being a part of that. But yeah, I found a very interesting person. Very interesting person. So I'm walking down this pavement, and I'm starting to think, it's about, I don't know, 3 o'clock by this point, and I'm thinking, there isn't really much here for me, I think I'll just sort of wander around a little bit more, and then I'll probably think about heading back to the train station and going home. So I come down to the bottom of this road, and off to the side, sitting on the side, was this girl. She points at the sticker, and so I stop, and I come over and I say hello, and I and she's there with her mum and her sister, and her sister has dyed purple hair like Amelia. But I just start chatting to these people, and then this girl, she blonde hair, blue eyes, a very attractive girl, um, and then suddenly, you know, we're just in full like conversation. It just me and her. And it's like there's a connection there. There's a connection between us, right? And you know, we're just chatting. We're just talking about all sorts of different things, and she starts to say things that I'm thinking about. Because when I'm out in a place like that, I don't exactly want to expose what I really think about things. I want to sort of be careful with my words, right? But she's saying what I'm thinking, right? And she's going, I'm not really sure about, it's kind of cool, this place, but I'm not really sure about the Israeli flag, she's going. And I'm going, there might be something to this girl, you know? And so, and then I'm we just end up chatting for ages, for ages, for hours. We're just talking to each other for hours, right? And then suddenly I'm sitting next to her, and we're just really getting to know each other, really, really, just, and we are like we. The more we learn about each other, the more we start to realize that we're kindred spirits. And she's saying stuff like, I find it really hard to meet people, especially people on my level. I just thought I'd come to this because I have nothing else to do, and it was something, and I was like, relating to that. And she was, and then we start talking about fascism, and I thought, what the fuck, as if we're, but. And now I show her my flag in my bag, and I'm like, yeah, I got a British Union flag. Look at this, look. And yeah, and she's so like chill and laid back, but extremely intelligent. And she's like talking about philosophy, and and she's talking about how she's found it so difficult to connect to people, and she has her own morals and principles where she's not interested in casual sex and all this sort of thing. And uh, and then she and then right then she says, I've always wanted to have my own homestead, have my own land, and live off grid, and live a traditional life. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I think I've found her. I think I've found who I'm looking for. I think. Like, I've never. We spoke for so long. We. I. It was such a perfect encounter for me as well. Like, I didn't say anything stupid. I didn't embarrass myself. I didn't flubber my words as I do sometimes. It just went so perfectly, so perfectly. She she liked that I was so tall. Her mum was sitting there, and her mum and her sister basically looked at each other because it was like they recognized that me and her were connecting, and so they both got up and sort of moved away a little bit to leave us to it. And her mum was like, oh, he is a really polite man and all this sort of thing. You need his number. You need to get his number. So Um, I gave her my number, and there was definitely an age difference. She's 20, right? And obviously I'm quite a bit older, but she didn't mind, and neither did her mum. So that's all right. I told her about the Hungarian girl with the purple hair and the battle jacket, and I mentioned the pin for the binary thing, and she replied with, "Oh, so she was a freak then, was she?" Me likey. I then talked to her about my interest in history, and I spoke about Alfred the Great and how important he really is, and how he's not really taught that much in schools. I didn't learn about him when I was at school. I learned about him when I left school, after school. And she was really fascinated by what I had to say. My kind of girl. And we all ended up going back to Liverpool Street. We took the underground together. I never took the underground before, and they basically showed me, directed me where we should be going. But we all went to the same place anyway, and I shook everybody's hand, and I said goodbye, and I got on the train and went home. And that was, and her mum just kept saying, this feels like fate. This feels like, because she is like, one in 100 million, right? She's like, such a particular person my uh, to my personality, right? Uh, like everything, we just aligned with everything, right? With principles, with morals, with opinions, with what we believe. Like, it was all so. It was just so perfect. She was just like exactly, um, who I've been looking for all these years. She's exactly what I've been looking for. However, here's where I'm going to start talking about the Truman Show. So, I wonder if I'm so lonely. Maybe I imagined this encounter. Maybe I didn't want. Um, Maybe I manifested this encounter in my mind, you know, because it seems so perfect that I can't help but feel this. This sounds so schizo. I can't help but feel this might not have been real. That is such a fucking weird thing to say, isn't it? Because I've never experienced this kind of encounter in my life. I talked about so much with her and went into so much personal detail about my own experiences. I listened to her stories. Um, you know, I sometimes have found people on like dating apps who could be some kind of, sort of have sort of a sort of in some kind of interest to me, right? But it never ended up going anywhere. So I thought, bollocks to this. I'm just going to delete all the apps. I don't use social media. And she was saying exactly the same thing. and she said, I don't use dating apps anymore. I don't use social media. I'm pretty much off grid, and all that sort of thing. And I have never, I've never in my life met anybody, anybody like her before. Someone who is just perfectly on my level, on exactly the same level as me. She starts talking about marriage and birth rates and all this sort of thing, and wow, I sort of, I just can't, I just, it's, I can't believe that I had that encounter. It was so unlikely. I would probably never be able to have an encounter like that for the rest of my life. Like, I didn't really have it in my mind, that I was thinking, hopefully I'll find Amelia. I just sort of went just to see what would happen. And things happen when you least expect it. That's what my nan used to say. Things will happen when you least expect it. Don't go out looking for something specific. Have it out of your mind. Eventually find you or come across you or whatever. But yeah, it really interesting. But yeah, it was real. It was a real encounter. She was a real genuine girl, um, who I've been looking for. So I had about 10% battery left on my phone. Because the night before, I just stay up all night, like listening to ASMR, because I can't get to sleep. Um, I just work all the time, and I should be tired, but I'm just not. I probably get like 2 or 3 hours sleep, and I just sit there and watch ASMR. Maybe like wife roleplay or something, I guess, but something to comfort me at night. But yeah, I forget to put my phone on charge, because before I know it, I just lose consciousness, and then I wake up and I find my phone underneath my pillow, and it's drained all the way down to like 20% or like 30%. But anyway, I got on the train and I was like heading home, and I looked at my phone and it was like 10%, and then before I got home, it switched off. So I got home and plugged my phone in, waited for a moment, and then it vibrated, and I looked, and it was her, and she texted me and she said something like, uh, it was really great to meet you today. It was really refreshing, because I said to her, why don't you, if you want to get away from the city, you can come to me. You can come, stay with me. I've got, if you, because she said she likes nature. She likes being in contact with nature, and I said, I got my own tent. I got a tent. You know, we could go camping. Uh, I can show you where to get raw milk. We can go out in the woods, over the fields. You can come meet my dog and all this sort of thing. And she said that in the text, and she said, I'd love to come to yours at some point. And so I replied straight away, and I said, yeah, it was great to meet you too, and yeah, I just said some things, but then I didn't get a reply. Right? I didn't get a reply, and I thought, oh, okay, well that's peculiar. But oh well, it's late, and I thought, well, she's probably gone to bed. All right. The next morning, I sent her a text and I said, "Good morning." I talked to her about something, sort of asking her about something that we talked about the day before, and then she didn't reply, and I thought, oh, okay then, all right then, all right then, and then I found that she had WhatsApp, and I sent her a video I thought she would appreciate, and it was a video of me sitting in the woods with the dog, and it's a video on the channel where I got Oblivion music playing in the background. I thought she would really appreciate it, but she hasn't seen it, and she hasn't replied, and yeah, but I guess she's busy. I thought she would reply, but I guess she's busy. But I sort of said to myself that you need to refrain from uh, uh, texting her any further. I it's just spamming people with text is something that that's just not me. And it's not something you probably shouldn't do that, right? But um, I've I've no one to talk to. I have no one to talk to, and I'm cripplingly lonely. And this is an exciting development, but as of yet, she hasn't replied. But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna spam her. I'm not gonna push it. The ball is in her court. I need to concentrate on something else. I need to think about something else, and wait and see what happens, because you have to always prepare for the worst. You see, and it's possible that I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want to. Maybe she's lost interest. I don't know why she would, but maybe she might have done. Maybe something has happened and she's lost her phone. Whatever. But I have to. You have to sort of prepare yourself for disappointment sometimes, because I've been disappointed so many times before, and it just seems too good to be true, and I really have to sort of relax and think. Remember, nothing. It might be potentially nothing will happen. It's possible that nothing will happen. That this might not amount to anything. And that's the brutal reality. Because sometimes life control you. Sometimes people and life just disappoints you. And as of yet, there's been no reply, and I do long for the response, but I have to wait and see. I have to wait and see what happens, and yeah, that's it. That's it for now, I guess. Hopefully something does. Hopefully this does develop into something. Yeah. I took my dog out on Sunday, and I took him for a walk, and he really struggled to walk back, and he is really old now, and I'm preparing myself for that as well. But if that doesn't work out, and when my dog's gone, I mean, I'm just gonna be on my own. It's just, I'm just gonna be in complete solitude. I'm used to being alone, but I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. I thought a mate was gonna come, but I'm afraid you can't really. There's some people you can't really rely on anymore. My brothers don't seem to want to know me anymore. They've both got girlfriends. They're both working all the time, and they're both moved in together, and they never asked me if I wanted to jump in as well, which disappointed me. And my nan's ashes were released, I suppose, down south, and nobody told me. Nobody told me. Nobody mentioned it. I would have liked to have come, to see the family, see people I haven't seen for a long time, and actually be there for that. It is something that I would have liked to have been there for. She meant a lot to me, and I'm really disappointed that they didn't tell me, and I don't know why. What's done is done. I never hear anything from my mum. I never really see her at all. She just she doesn't want to know. I told her that I went to the rally to wind her up, because she's a fucking mental commie fucking Green Party voter. So really pissed her off. I thought was funny. It's funny to me that you get pissed off over things like that. It's quite daft, really. But she's a strange person with a wanker who's her husband. She never comes round. She never sees me. Now, yeah. Anyway. I never see my father. He's in his 60s. He's a drunk. He's either in Cyprus or he's in Malta or he's in Spain or wherever the fuck he is. He doesn't give a shit about us. I never hear anything from him. And whenever he's in the country, he if he ever comes round, he just wants to see if he can borrow some money. You know, he's a wanker, really. But I can say that about him. He's my father. And that's what he is. For now, I've only got myself. I've only got, like always, like before, alone. But I hope that changes. I don't want to be alone anymore. I don't want to be alone for much longer. I want to mean something to someone. I want to be useful and have a fulfilling life. I work 5 days a week, and I don't know what's the point anymore. I don't know what the point is anymore. It's so... You're surrounded by people, but you're just so alone. I'm not sure if... I don't know how long I can keep it going. Honestly. But yeah, my advice is to just keep trying, just keep going out and get involved in things that you think will attract people who could potentially have the same principles, the same morals as you, the same interests, the same opinions as you, and go to those kind of social events and try and see what happens. Just try. It could be that nothing will happen, nothing will come of it. I've been there before, many times. But you never know. You might... something interesting might happen. Might be a random encounter. But let's wait and see about that.